Crime, Wine, and Chaos contains adult language and graphic content. Listener discretion is advised.
Will the real Slim Shady please stand up, Chaos Kids? I'm Amber.
And I'm not Slim Shady. I'm Naomi.
Samesies.
And this is Crime, Wine, and Chaos. Sister.
Yes. Oh, there.
How are things? What's going on? Hello.
Thank you for asking. Things are pretty good, actually. It's Friday. Survived the week.
Okay.
And
that's bonus. Yep.
And I went to trivia night with some friends from work. And I'm terrible at trivia. Like I literally
Like at a bar.
It was at the whiskey place in Kenmore. And I'm terrible. So I hope I get invited back. I got one question right, and the answer was Double Dare.
You know what, though? You're great at Pictionary. You know what I mean? You just got to... We used to play Pictionary all the time. You're a great Pictionary partner.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, so that was fun. That was a lot of fun, but I was like...
You know what? As long as you had fun, that's all that matters.
Shit, man. These people are smarty pants. I don't fucking know what they're talking
just
about.
Just because people can retain information in their brains doesn't make them smart. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to retain all kinds of information until perimenopause started happening.
Perimenopause ruins everything.
Yep.
Literally ruins everything.
Truly. Yeah.
100%. Totally.
Anyway, but that was fun. What about you? What you've just been?
What was that?
What did it sound like?
Like something just screeched in my ear.
Oh, I don't know. I don't have anything screeching.
That was really loud and it... Okay.
Weird.
That was strange.
Oh.
That's never happened before.
We're being intercepted by something.
I don't know.
Oh
my God. What about me? I had a lovely evening last night of cabaret at the Triple Door, which is one of my favorite places and one of my favorite things. So with one of my favorite people. So I had a great time.
It's amazing. I love the Triple Door.
I do too. It's a fantastic
good
venue.
Performances. Yeah. Fun venue. Good for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was really good.
Love all that for you.
Yep.
And you're just plunking away with your packing and...
I have left to do is pack the stuff that I'm using every day. And next week the box will come and we're a week from today. A week from today will be my last day in this apartment.
Oh my gosh. New chapter.
New book. Actually, I think we're going to call it a whole new book.
Totally whole new book. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, that's what's going on with me. Sister, we have some business. We have some for the good of the order stuff.
We do. We have 3 new Chaos Kid Club members.
Since the last time we recorded, like a week ago.
Yeah, which is
incredible.
Wild. We got an email from this one to make sure we pronounce his last name correctly. So I presume we have permission to say his last name.
Clearly.
So welcome to Noah Nordengren.
Noah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So glad to have you.
Thank
you. And thank you for the extra email just to make sure so that we get it right. We appreciate that.
Love that. And then Paunch.
Okay.
Sorry. Fuck. And then Keely.
Welcome, Paunch and Keely. Paunch is a dear friend of mine. So, we're like this. We're like this.
And
so
Paunch left us a really nice review on the Apple.
He did. I'll read it. It says, humorous, dark, thrilling, and entertaining. 5 stars. I have been binging this show for the last 2 weeks, and I'm completely consumed. I'm a proud Chaos Kid on Patreon, and the only bad part is that eventually I will catch up on all the episodes, and I will have to wait for the weekly upload. 5 stars all day. !
Thank you.
Paunch is the best.
Paunch, yes. Thanks, Paunch. I am drinking a Cab Sauvignon from F. Miller Cellars. Don't act like you don't know.
Do we know? Isn't that one where we're like, is it Stephen Miller's or Stephen Miller's?
It's spelled when it's a PH. I think it's Stephen, and it is a PH. So
I think we've talked about Stephen Miller's before.
We have. So okay, Stephen Miller. I don't know what the F stands for. F. Stephen Miller Cellars.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm almost done with my box of ginger beer because I'm trying to clear everything out before so I don't want to have to move it if I don't have to.
For sure.
So I'm having a little baby can of ginger beer today.
Perfect.
Little bubbly. Sister.
Yes.
Are you ready?
I am.
I have a crime for you.
Of course you do.
Okay. So I've been on a
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do another one. So this is the murder of Felix Polk.
Okay.
Okay. So Frank Felix Polk was born in June of 1932 into an intellectual, affluent Austrian family that owned department stores. His early years were spent in Vienna. His childhood was pretty idyllic. He even had a toy train set that had a real steam engine and was big enough for him to ride it.
Oh my God. That sounds so fun. I wonder,
amazing,
does that have
right?
to be outside? Or are we just releasing like steam engine shit into the living room?
I mean, it's just water, right? It's just steam.
Okay.
I don't know.
Fun. Okay.
His family was full of prominent musicians and Jewish aristocrats. A friend of Felix's from graduate school would later say, quote, "It was the kind of family that if they didn't know Freud, they should have." But right before the onset of World War II, the Polks fled Austria. They went into hiding for a few years before escaping to the U.S. Felix was 9 when they reestablished themselves in Harrison, New York, where they opened a small department store. Felix's parents did remain loyal to Austria, however, and continued to purchase Austrian bonds.
Okay.
After graduating from St. John's College in Maryland in 1953, Felix served as an officer in the U.S. Navy during and after the Korean War. He received his Ph.D. from the University of California, Berkeley in 1965. Now a doctor, a psychiatrist, Felix did his postgraduate work with Anna Freud in London, where he began to develop his model on deviant adolescent behavior. He returned to the U.S. and began a highly successful private practice in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Smarty pants.
Felix once told an old friend that he never saw his father without a jacket and tie. Years later, friends from his graduate school days at UC Berkeley remembered Felix as a formal guy, even in the most informal of times. Sometimes in the 60s, Felix would arrive at major occasions in his navy dress whites.
Okay.
When most of his friends joined the free speech movement, Felix kept his distance. While others were enjoying the era of free love, he was married to a classical pianist, his first wife, Sharon Mann, and together they had a son and a daughter.
Super sophisticated.
Super sophisticated. A colleague of Felix once said, quote, "On the surface, he was the gentlest, nicest, most ethical person around. But from hearing about things he did, you realize there's another person under the surface." One indicator of that other person under the surface came in the 70s when distinguished therapists were invited to weekend sessions to learn about EST, a new age self-improvement program movement, later labeled a cult, founded by Werner Erhard. Felix said afterward that he, quote, "learned more in one weekend than in all 4 years of graduate school."
No, you didn't. But okay.
Yeah. And it would be the 70s when Felix would meet his second wife, Susan.
Through Est?
No.
Okay.
But it's worse.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Susan Bowling was born in 1957 and raised in the suburbs of Oakland, California. A very smart girl, she was a voracious reader and through her love of books gave herself a classical education. She was recognized in school and through awards for her excellent writing ability. By the time Susan was 15 in 1972, she was becoming an absolute beauty as well. Pale, creamy skin, and dark eyes, she garnered attention when she was out and about. But she was also troubled. Her mother, Helen, was leaving her dad and leaving a hole in Susan's life. Her home life turmoil was spilling into her school life, and a counselor at Clayton Valley High School in Concord recommended to Helen that Susan needed therapy, specifically that Susan should go to an expert in adolescent behavior, Dr. Felix Polk.
Oh, fuck. So this is one of his patients. And also, Just doing quick mental math. He's like 25 years older than her.
Yes.
Gross. And he meets her when she's 15.
So Susan starts seeing Felix for psychotherapy when she's 15.
Gross.
And by the time she's 16, Felix was still treating Susan and the two were having sex.
Gross.
Felix was in his 40s.
Oh my God. This is predatory on so many levels. Okay.
So many levels.
Mm-hmm.
A year or two later, when Susan was 17 or 18, Helen finally found out about this relationship and she confronted Felix. And she says he was sheepish, but he did not end the affair. And she told him, quote, "When this is over, I hope you will be kind to her. Wean the child away from you."
Okay. I mean, it's not her job to do something about it, but that's a strange response.
I mean, it's the 70s.
I know. Yeah, it's true.
Look, I went off on a tangent on this one, like research wise, where it was like there weren't, at that time, there still weren't rules really in place about teachers or pastors or therapists or anyone professionally, like not doctors of any kind, like not engaging in relationships with their patients or their students or I mean, these were all like maybe frowned upon or maybe suggestions in certain institutions, but they weren't laws. It wasn't widely accepted that this was like predatory practice and like not good practice. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That would come later.
Because of people like this. Yeah. And what I'm guessing, like 16 was the age of consent or something.
Maybe.
Oh my God. Okay.
Susan graduated high school and went to Mills College, an all-girls school in the Oakland Hills, and then moved to San Francisco State University. She had stopped seeing Felix as a therapist, but their sexual relationship continued. Helen was still concerned and even took Susan on vacation to Santa Barbara, hoping to have Susan meet men her own age, but Susan wasn't interested. She never went out with anyone but Felix.
Hold on. Helen is his wife, right?
No, Helen is Susan's mom.
Oh, okay. So his wife is already outie 5.
No, she's still around.
Oh.
This is also an affair.
Okay, got it.
Felix divorced Sharon in 1982.
Okay, then I take back what I said about it's not Helen's job. It absolutely was Helen's job to do something about it. I thought Helen was Felix's wife.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
I take that back. Okay, keep going.
Okay. Felix divorced Sharon in 1982, the same year he married Susan. His 2 kids with Sharon were now grown. Susan was 24 and Felix was 50.
And his kids are what? Probably older than her? Or her age?
Something like that.
God. Blech.
During the course of their marriage, the two had 3 sons, Adam, Eli, and Gabriel, and Felix enjoyed a successful career. In addition to his clinical practice, he held academic positions at the University of California, Berkeley, Holy Names College, Hayward State University, the California Graduate School of Family Psychology, and Argosy University. Susan was a devoted stay-at-home mom. Over the years, the family took trips around the world, drove fancy cars, and the boys all went to private schools. In the fall of 2000, Felix and Susan moved the boys into a very expensive house in Orinda.
Is that where the Menendez brothers lived?
No, that's where the story I covered like a couple weeks ago, where Kirsten, the one who was stabbed on the front porch of her neighbor's house by the girl that wanted to be a cheerleader
that
too.
Made vegan meals in the Pinto.
Her sister made. That's right.
Okay.
This is literally in the course of researching that story is how I found this story.
Okay.
So this takes place in the same town, like 20 years later.
Okay.
Or whatever. Where was I? Orinda. The $1.85 million house was huge and had a pool and a pool house. It was actually more house than they could afford on Felix's income, but the couple had aspired to that level of financial success, and the Polk family blended in well in Orinda. The boys were now teenagers, and Susan and Felix's marriage was crumbling.
You don't say.
In 2001, the couple filed for divorce, but continued to both live in the house together even after Susan asked Felix to move out. The two fought constantly, bitterly, and after an especially nasty fight, Felix told Susan to leave. She drove to Yosemite National Park, where she allegedly attempted suicide. Later, Susan took off with one son or another for Paris, Hawaii, Thailand, and Big Sky, Montana, where she knew no one but claimed she might settle there. Living on $6,500 a month from Felix, she racked up additional credit card charges. The Polks could no longer afford to pay for the big house in Orinda, the 2 Volvo station wagons, the Saab, the Dodge Ram truck, and Susan's travels. In April 2002, Felix's lawyer filed a declaration in the divorce saying that Susan, then 44, was, quote, healthy and well-educated, that there was absolutely no reason she could not work. In September, Susan put the house on the market, although at such an inflated price that Felix complained it would never sell. Their relationship grew more and more contentious, and police responded to a number of domestic violence calls from the house, some from Felix, others from Susan. Refusing to leave the property, Felix instead moved into the pool house. In early October 2002, Susan left for Montana, telling real estate agents trying to sell the house that she was, quote, working on a travel log of my adventures. On Sunday, October 6th, while she was away, Felix called a criminal attorney friend of his, Barry Morris, telling Barry that he feared for his life. Felix told him he was embarrassed that his wife of 20 years, the mother of his 3 youngest sons, wanted to kill him, and he, a therapist, was incapable of stopping her. Barry told Felix he should go to the cops. Susan returned home Thursday, October 10th. Felix moved to a hotel. The next day, he obtained a court order by claiming that Susan had abandoned him. The order gave him possession of the house and custody of Gabriel, the last of their 3 sons, to remain a minor. And Felix's monthly payment to Susan was reduced to $1,700 a month.
Oh, that's a huge reduction.
Yowzers. Felix knew this was a bold move that would not go over well with Susan. He called his grown son and daughter from his first marriage and told them that he was afraid that Susan was going to shoot him. He had left a voice message that Friday on his phone, on his daughter's phone, saying things were getting critical and that Susan had threatened to kill him.
And he's like old as shit now, right?
70.
Okay. Whoops.
I mean, that's old. 70 is old. I mean, he's in his retirement years.
For sure.
Felix moved back into the cottage over the weekend. Friday evening, after his court order was issued, their eldest, Adam, came home from UCLA to pick up his dog. On Sunday, Felix and Gabriel drove Adam and the dog back to UCLA. Felix and Gabriel returned home around 9:30 p.m. Monday, October 14th, while the mothers of high school students were painting terracotta pots for the upcoming holiday bazaar, Susan picked up Gabriel from school, took him to lunch at Baja Fresh, stopped at Blockbuster to rent Scooby-Doo, and walked around the wooded neighborhood looking for Dusty, their missing yellow lab. Felix was supposed to take Gabriel to a San Francisco Giants game that night. When his father didn't show up, Gabriel asked Susan if she knew where he was. Gabriel would later say that Susan fluttered her eyelids the way she did when she was lying and claimed she didn't know.
Oh, God.
Gabriel went to the cottage with a flashlight and found his father's body. He called 911 and turned his mother in.
Wow. That's pretty bad that he knows her liar face, too.
Right.
God.
Felix had been alone in the cottage wearing only black briefs and reading a book when he was hit on the head and back with something that caused blunt force trauma injuries. He was stabbed 27 times in the chest, sides, arms, legs, and feet. According to police, Susan agreed to let them search the house, though knowing her history of mental troubles, they did obtain a search warrant regardless. She insisted that she didn't know what had happened to Felix. When they told her he was dead, Susan had no reaction until they told her that Gabriel had been the one to find the body.
Yeah.
Police noted that Susan was cut and scratched and had red discoloration around her eyes, bite marks on the hand, and a red welt on her shoulder.
Oh my God, he was biting her hands. This sounds like a savage fucking attack.
Right.
Oh my God.
At the end of a long police interview, Susan said that if she was going to be sent to jail, she wanted them to hurry up and do that because she was tired and wanted to get some sleep.
Oh, can you wrap this up so I can take a nap? Thanks. Wrap it up. Susan. Wow.
Susan was initially released on bail until trial, but it was revoked when she violated the terms of her bail by contacting and threatening one of her sons. Mm-hmm. Susan's trial began on October 17th, 2005. That's like 3 years.
Shit.
From the time of the little over 3 years from the murder.
Mm-hmm.
Prosecution was seeking conviction of murder in the first degree, arguing that Susan planned to murder Felix for money. Mm-hmm. Susan initially denied, of course, acknowledgement or any involvement in Felix's murder, but would change her story to one of self-defense. She claimed that Felix abused her physically, sexually, and psychologically for years and had come at her with a kitchen knife. And she said she took control of the knife in the struggle and stabbed him instead.
Well, listen. Their relationship started with her being sexually abused. That is true.
That is true.
This one's going to be... Okay, keep going.
An expert witness for the defense, forensic pathologist Dr. John Cooper, testified that Felix's death was caused by heart disease and that his stab wounds were not life-threatening. And clearly this showed that Susan stabbed him in self-defense.
I'm sorry. A guy is found stabbed to death and it was like, must have been the heart disease. No, I don't. No.
Right?
God, I wonder what happened here. Oh, God. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Wow.
Dr. Cooper failed to appear in court the following day to continue being cross-examined and to present documents that he said he got from Susan. Mm-hmm. He did return with the documents a week later and resume testimony. I don't really know what came of that because the prosecuting attorneys dismissed Susan's claim of self-defense, arguing she had no defensive wounds from her husband's alleged attack.
Right.
But then the court was forced to declare a mistrial when the wife of Susan's attorney was murdered in a completely unrelated incident.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh my God. Why was that a mistrial? Because the lawyer had to dip out?
I guess. I don't.
That's awful and weird, but okay.
So in January 2006, a judge removed that attorney from her. I guess like they declared a mistrial, like we'll have to do this again later.
Okay.
Because your wife was murdered. Sure. And you're her attorney. Mm-hmm. But then in January, a judge removed him as her attorney because he said he had a conflict of interest. But I think he just didn't want to represent Susan because Susan was too hard to represent.
Oh.
Because then the judge set a new trial date for the end of February in 2006. And then Susan fired a series of attorneys and successfully petitioned the court to allow her to represent herself.
Susan, no, don't represent yourself.
So opening statements began March 7th, 2006 in what would prove to be a high-profile trial with spectators, TV legal analysts, and reporters alike all showing up in the courtroom to watch what was bound to be a spectacle of Susan representing herself. Mm-hmm. And it was a spectacle, including Susan repeatedly bickering with the judge and the prosecutor. Susan's delusional and confrontational behavior was on full display, with daily accusations directed at the judge, the prosecutor, and anyone else who contradicted her. Susan maintained adamantly that there was a vast web of conspiracy trying to get her convicted, and that the crime scene had been tampered with, and that her husband Felix was a horrible man, and she was justified in murdering him. Mm-hmm. Citing all of this, she repeatedly requested a second mistrial. Susan also claimed that she was a psychic who predicted September 11th, that her husband was a secret Israeli spy, that fairy tales are true, and other like equally sensational claims. Susan called a psychic detective to the stand in order to prove her own claims of being a medium, and she said Felix hypnotized her into trances to get her to make predictions that he could feed to Mossad.
Okay, well, I've got a few questions here. Is she is she trying to make it so that she can do an insanity defense by making herself look cuckoo?
No.
She's legit like,
yes.
Okay, great. Wow. Okay.
Those who couldn't attend the trial in person would follow the case daily on various internet websites and legal TV talk shows on TV. Adding to the drama was testimony against Susan by two of her sons, Adam and Gabriel, the oldest and the youngest, and testimony on her behalf by her middle son, Eli. Adam and Gabriel described Susan as an angry, delusional, and violent person. Gabriel testified that his mother had speculated on ways of killing her husband in the weeks before his father's death. Adam received widespread media coverage when he referred to Susan on the stand as, quote, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Wow. Shit.
He also testified that his mother was, quote, the embodiment of evil.
Also, in her defense, she doesn't know anything else except for this guy.
That's right.
Nothing. This was her entire
That's right.
life, her entire adult
That's right.
life and some of her childhood.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
The testimony by Eli bordered on the bizarre and showed an unnaturally close relationship between Susan and Eli, leading many to speculate about an incestuous relationship between the two.
Cool.
Eli testified that Felix was the aggressor, the controller, and the manipulator, and that he was responsible overall. So there's like a split with the brothers here. On May 17th, over 2 months into the trial, Susan began testifying in a narrative format. Susan spent 9 days on the stand, claiming Felix drugged and raped her as a teen, poisoned the family dogs, and plotted the 1978 assassination of San Francisco Mayor George Moscone. Susan testified that Adam and Gabe had been brainwashed by her husband and had turned against her because they were part of a conspiracy to loot the family estate. On May 24th, Eli was convicted by a jury of misdemeanor battery against an ex-girlfriend, violating a restraining order, and violating probation in connection with 2 arrests in March at the home in Orinda.
Not good.
The next day, in Susan's trial, the prosecutor began cross-examining Susan. On June 12th, over 3 months after the trial began, both sides gave their closing arguments to the jury. The jury would later comment that neither Susan nor her son Eli were credible witnesses, and they completely dismissed her unsubstantiated attacks on Felix's character. Initially, jurors were deadlocked 11-1 guilty of first-degree murder, with the lone holdout juror believing the verdict should be manslaughter. The lone juror's position was that the sentence of 25 years to life for first-degree murder was too harsh and didn't want to send Susan to prison for that length of time, and believed that the 11-year fixed sentence for manslaughter was more appropriate.
Okay.
Eventually, a compromised verdict was reached, with the lone holdout juror agreeing to come up from manslaughter to second-degree murder, and the remaining 11 jurors agreeing to come down from first-degree murder to second-degree murder to reach a unanimous verdict. The penalty for second-degree murder is 15 years to life. On June 16th, 2006, Susan was found guilty of second-degree murder. On January 30th, 2007, 6 months later, a motion for a new trial and a motion to modify verdict was filed. The motion claimed that the judge allowed the prosecution to illegally dismiss prospective jurors because they were women, that members of the jury were prejudiced against Susan because of the extensive media coverage of the case, much of it critical of Susan, that there is evidence that the jurors were exposed to media coverage of the trial. And in fact, one juror told reporters immediately after the verdict was read, quote, "Sometimes the media was making stuff up."
How would you know that?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That the judge improperly reprimanded Susan in front of jurors and appeared to favor the prosecution, that the judge failed to instruct the jury on heat of passion voluntary manslaughter, and that Susan's right to represent herself was hampered by her treatment at the jail and by supposedly being prevented from consulting with an attorney and her legal assistant.
Okay.
In February, late February, the motion for a new trial and the motion to modify the verdict was argued by the defense and the prosecution. The motion was denied, and Susan was immediately sentenced to 16 years to life with that additional 1 year for use of a deadly weapon.
Oh.
Susan's appeal was denied in 2011. She became eligible for parole in 2018, but the hearing was postponed, and her first parole hearing was held in May 2019. Susan was removed from her parole hearing before it concluded for being disruptive by repeatedly talking over the parole board commissioners, attempting to enter over 100 objections before the parole hearing began, and for attempting to retry the facts of the case. Susan also accused one of the commissioners of throwing a document at her, which the commissioner denied doing. Susan was denied parole for an additional 10 years. Her request to advance her parole hearing earlier than 10 years was denied in July 2025. Susan Polk will be eligible for her next parole hearing in May 2029. And that is the murder of Dr. Felix Polk.
Wow. Also, don't act like a dick during your parole hearing. Come on. Oh, God, I feel so conflicted about that. Nobody deserves to be murdered, but that guy was a fucking predator.
He was a predator.
Uh-huh.
And the thing is like, as I was reading these articles at different places around, it was really clear that like a lot of people didn't know this about the origins of their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like a lot of people did not know how long he'd been having this affair, how he met her. And there was definitely some indication that after the murder, when all this was coming to light, there was some institutions that were like distancing themselves from him.
Oh.
When they learned this information.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also some speculation that, Susan had like, some sort of underlying like borderline personality disorder or something that he had never seen and never got treated because he was so unprofessional with her and didn't want to treat her for what she actually had.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? That like she was basically like left untreated the entirety of their marriage.
Right. And the whole reason that she went to see him in the first place was lost as soon as they started.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty fucked.
And then when you hear about the way she was in court, clearly she's not well.
Oh, boy. Fuck.
So, I mean,
that guy sucked.
That guy totally sucked.
He totally sucked.
And yeah, like not to victim shame or victim blame or, whatever. But at the same time, it's like, nuance is a thing, you guys. It's a word and a thing for a reason.
For sure.
And in some instances, this is a little bit of a reap what you sow situation.
Yeah. I wonder if his ex-wife and his other children were called to testify at all and what their take on.
They were not mentioned in the trial at all.
Huh. Wow. God. So fucked. Thanks for that.
You're so welcome.
Okay. It's really hot in this room. I don't know what's going on.
Are you sure it's not just a hot flash?
I'm sure.
Okay.
But thank you. Do you want some chaos?
Of course. Always.
Okay.
Always.
Okay. So we're going to head on over to Fayetteville, North Carolina.
All right.
Okay. Sherry Calgaro had been searching for her missing sister, Mary, for 35 years. The girls were born in Little Falls, New York, to their birth mother, Charlotte. This is going to be like, I'm going to throw a lot of names at you. So if you need me to stop so you can get some red yarn, let me know.
Great. Okay.
So Charlotte's first husband was Hubert Pressler. But while she was married to Hubert, she had an affair with a man named Charles Day and had Mary.
Okay.
And then she had Kathy with Charles. So her marriage to Hubert ended up falling apart, and then she marries Charles. And while she's married to Charles, she had an affair with a man named Ira Hoke. And it was
Okay.
through this affair that she had Sherry.
Okay, so she has 3 kids by 2 different men?
Yes.
And the first 2 babies were with the first affair.
Uh-huh.
The third baby was with the second affair.
Correct.
Got it.
When Charlotte was in her late 20s, she had another affair with William Howell. Howell? Houle.
Who?
Mhm. He was a 17-year-old Marine at the time.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
And those 2 got married. Okay. So this is husband number 3, affair number 4. I don't know. So Charlotte's a shit hot mess. She continuously got pregnant on accident with kids that she didn't want. Right?
Okay.
That was weird. She had some mental health issues, and at one point she attempted suicide, which led to my document is doing something weird.
Okay, we'll figure it out, sister.
Okay, well, let's not get when I try to scroll, it makes the font bigger instead of scrolling. Okay.
Oh, you might have the little button pushed in.
Pushed in?
You know, on your mouse.
Yeah, no, it's not. Okay, there we go. Okay, so she attempted suicide, which led to all 3 girls being placed into like emergency foster care with the Waltz family. But as soon as Charlotte was released from the hospital and stable, her and William got the 3 girls back.
Okay.
When she picked them up from the Waltz family, Sherry was pissed and she didn't want to go back with her mom because her mom sucked.
Yeah.
So Charlotte took Mary and Kathy and left Sherry behind. She was like, fine, get out of the car.
What?
Yep. And the Waltz family ended up adopting her and raising her as her parents. And
holy shit. Okay. How old was Sherry when this happened?
I want to say like 5 or 6.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay.
So she takes just Mary and Kathy, leaves Sherry behind. William and Charlotte moved to Seaside, California with Mary and Kathy. And initially, Sherry was in contact with her biological family through letters and phone calls, but then one day it all just sort of stopped. A few years go by, and Sherry gets a letter in the mail from her sister Kathy from Little Falls, New York, which was like back in the area. And so Sherry's parents agreed to drive Sherry to Little Falls so that she could see her sisters. But when Sherry gets to Little Falls, it was just Kathy there. And her biological mom told her that Mary ran away. Mary would have been 13 by now. Mary just ran away. She's gone. And Sherry believed Charlotte at the time, and she asked her if she had like any pictures of Mary, and Charlotte said she didn't have any pictures. She burned them all. Oh. She's gone. We don't. Yeah.
Okay.
But as soon as Sherry was old enough, she started to look for Mary. The first thing she did was report her missing, which had never been done.
Right.
It's now 2012, and Sherry reports Mary missing to the Seaside, California Police Department, because according to Charlotte, like she ran away in Seaside and then they moved across the country. And they were just like, oh, well, bye.
Right.
She was 13 when she went missing in 1981. And it's just now being reported in 2002 by Sherry.
That's wild.
I know.
Okay.
So the initial investigation shows that Mary's social security number had never been used, and there was no records of her having any kind of identification. Like there's no Mary Day out and about.
Right.
The police get in contact with Kathy, and Kathy says that she remembered an incident that happened on June 15th, 1981, and it was after this incident that she never saw Mary again. Okay. So apparently Charlotte and William had gone out for the evening, and Kathy and Mary were home alone. They had a dog who apparently had gotten sick, and the dog was like foaming at the mouth and vomiting. And so when the parents got home, William accused Mary and Kathy of poisoning the dog. And when Mary pushed back and told William that absolutely did not happen, Charlotte told Kathy to go to her room. And so Kathy does, but she leaves her door open a crack so she can like watch and listen to this argument between Mary and William. And she said that is when William started beating Mary. And the
Oh.
next morning, Mary was gone. And
Uh-huh.
Charlotte told her that Mary ran away and that we're not going to talk about her anymore.
Right.
Mhm. And then it was shortly after that that they moved to New York. So they never filed a missing persons report. So right away, detectives suspect that they're going to be treating this as a homicide.
Yeah.
They take Kathy, or Kathy takes them rather, to the home that they were living in at the time that Mary went missing, and they walk the property with her. They bring in cadaver dogs, and 4 different dogs hit on the same spot under a tree in the yard.
Oh.
So on October 11th, 2002, they start to dig up the yard. And first they pull out a child's shoe. Then they find a teddy bear and a belt buckle, but there was no body. They're weird things to dig out of the yard.
Yeah.
By August 2003, they are able to track down Charlotte and William in Kansas where they were living. Charlotte was interviewed and they could tell that she was really nervous. And they
Mm-hmm.
asked her when she last saw Mary, and she said Mary ran away in 1981 and that her husband told her that he reported her missing, which of course was bullshit. But when they interview William, they ask him about the incident with the dog, and William said, "Yeah, she killed my dog." He said that when that happened, he blacked out, and the following day, Charlotte told him that he had a demon in him last night.
Oh, did he know?
Mhm.
Okay.
When they asked him if he killed Mary, he said, "I could never do that, but the demon could have done that."
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So this for sure sounds like a confession, but
Uh-huh.
the DA won't allow an arrest because there is no body and it's not enough evidence.
Right.
So back to Sherry. During her search to find out what happened to Mary, she learns that she has another half sister, Jeannie, that she never knew about.
I feel like this whole story is this from a Netflix documentary?
It was on Hulu.
I feel like I've heard this story before. Keep
Okay.
going.
So she meets Jeannie, and Sherry meets Jeannie, and she immediately says that Jeannie looks just like Charlotte. And Sherry learns that Jeannie is Charlotte and Hubert's daughter, which was Charlotte's first husband.
Oh, we didn't know
Didn't know
that.
she existed.
Okay.
Okay. So then in November of 2003, Seaside, California detectives get a call that a driver was arrested in Phoenix, Arizona after her vehicle plates came back as stolen. And the driver had identification on her that said Mary Louise Day with Mary's date of birth, and she looked an awful lot like Mary. Okay. So detectives interview her and they ask her a shit ton of questions, obviously. She remembered a lot of the basics about her early life, but she didn't remember the dog or being accused of poisoning the dog or being assaulted or anything like that, which the detectives thought was very strange. But they do collect a DNA sample from Mary and they get a sample from Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
So um, Sherry goes and gets Mary from Arizona and takes her home to Fayetteville. She's like, "My
Okay.
sister, yay." Right?
Okay.
When Sherry saw this woman in the airport, her first thought was, "Please don't let that be her," because apparently she was also a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, apparently. Real
Oh,
disheveled, real like ruh-roh, right?
rough around the edges.
Uh-huh. Yeah, she was
Yeah.
scary looking, and of course that was her. So Sherry
Uh-huh.
brings her home to live with her and immediately started to see red flags, like Mary not remembering her father's name. She also can't remember her birth date. Like she had the ID that said the right birthday, but she couldn't recite it. But she also had a lot of trauma. which can impact
Yeah.
someone's memory, right?
Sure. This is a what's that guy's Borden guy that I covered like
Oh,
2
yeah,
weeks
yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh. Does she have an accent? Does
no.
she
But
the
wait.
unexplainable
Oh,
accent?
but wait.
Okay.
Sherry said it was pretty clear early on that this woman had some pretty serious mental health issues, and living with her was like scary.
Yeah.
She said it was like living with different people. She said there was Mary, who was put together and pleasant. Then the disheveled person, Sherry called Monica. She said her shoulders would be slumped and she would shuffle her feet when she walked and just like kind of,
Yeah.
Sherry started to find alcohol stashed in different places around her house. And
Uh-oh.
so eventually Sherry moves her out into a trailer that she owned because she wanted her to still be housed and cared
Uh-huh.
for. And she was helping her find a job. And one day, Mary calls Sherry over for I don't know why. And as Sherry's walking to the front door, Mary threw a glass beer bottle at Sherry's head.
Oh my
And
God.
Sherry's like, okay, we're done here, right?
Yeah.
So Mary goes back to Arizona, and Sherry's pretty certain that this woman wasn't her sister and she just let it go. Like, that was a weird fucking experience.
Right.
I will say, though, Mary, child Mary, she has a very distinct look. And this adult Mary looked just like her.
Just like her?
Yes.
Okay.
But then the DNA comes back and it's a match.
It is her.
This woman from Arizona matched Charlotte as being her biological child.
Not necessarily Mary though.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So the DA has to close or decides to close the homicide case. They're like, okay, I guess Mary's been found. Here we go. 5 years later, the lead detective on the case had been promoted to chief of police in Seaside, and he can't really let it go. So he assigns a new detective, to take a look at this case again because it's just weird.
Right. Right.
This detective agrees that there is compelling evidence that Mary Day did in fact die in 1981, but this Arizona Mary has DNA that matches Charlotte's. So one thing that this detective learned was that Arizona Mary, when asked to say what her birth date was, she would say 12/21/1966.
Mm-hmm.
But missing Mary was born to 1968.
Oh.
Uh-huh. So since Sherry had already discovered Jeannie, another sister, she suspected that she could have siblings all over the place that she didn't know about,
Right.
right? And the suspicion was that once Charlotte knew that she was under investigation for Mary's murder, that she contacted one of her abandoned children and convinced them to
Yes.
play missing Mary.
Yes.
But this new detective can't get the information that he needs to really get to the bottom of this. So it kind of goes cold again. Yeah. 2017. A new chief of police is appointed, and she reopens the Mary Day case again. Uh-huh. That is when she gets a phone call in 2017 from a woman who said that she was the younger sister of Mary Day, Phoenix Mary Day,
Uh-huh.
and said that Mary was on hospice in Missouri. So if you need answers, you better go now.
Okay.
So this chief knows that, like, I need to get out there before she dies. So she goes to Missouri, and they ask Mary if she remembers getting a beating that night, with the dog thing. She says she doesn't remember any of that, but she does remember leaving the house and meeting an older woman named BJ Ward, who she ended up living with. She said that she knew she was about to die and she wanted everyone to know that she wasn't missing and that she was Mary Day. So this Mary died 9 days later. And the chief of police reached out to BJ Ward, and BJ and her boyfriend are able to give them a picture of Mary taken in their home in 1983. And the chief sees the picture and right away says that that is definitely the real Mary Day.
Mm-hmm.
So now the real Mary Day is dead and the case is closed again.
Uh-huh.
But Sherry is still not satisfied, so she travels to Kansas to the nursing home where her biological mom, Charlotte, is living and also close to death, and hopes that Charlotte would be willing to tell the truth at this point. But Charlotte doesn't budge. She's a fucking
Uh-huh.
asshole, and she
Right.
keeps it to the bitter end. So the new chief believes that Phoenix Mary that died was the real Mary Day, but a lot of people aren't sure if she was. Sherry believes that her real Mary Day sister was killed in 1981, and she thinks that Charlotte and William buried her in that yard and later moved her.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy has a memory of driving across the country, like when they left to go to New York and stopping somewhere in the Utah desert, and William pulling a rolled up rug out of the car and taking it out into the desert and then getting back in the car and driving.
Wow.
But either way, it's kind of split down the middle of whether or not that was the real Mary Day or another one of Charlotte's rando abandoned kids.
Whoa. And we'll just never know.
No,
We'll just never know.
no, we won't. What?
What do you think?
I think when you see the photos, she looks just like her, but also like if that is her biological sister, she could look just like her.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know, because where were these people that raised her when she was, like, clearly having mental health issues and just wandering around Phoenix? Like, where you
Right.
know? I don't What do you think?
I don't know. It could go either way. It really could go either way.
The problem is too, is, like, because Charlotte had so many baby daddies, actually, I take back what I said earlier, none of the siblings look like they can even be siblings. Like,
Right.
Mary Day looks almost like she could have, like, Pacific Islander in her or something. She almost looks like Winnie from The Wonder Years. And
Uh-huh.
Sherry has bright red hair, pale, pale skin, covered in freckles. Like, they all look very different.
Right.
I don't know.
Hmm.
Wild.
That is
Yeah, it
wild.
was called The Girl Who Died Twice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You did know that one?
No,
Hmm.
No. Wow, sister, that was you took us on a little adventure and mystery tour
Mhm.
there.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is
Appreciate that.
it's kind of anticlimactic.
No, but it's also like it's intriguing. It's very
I
intriguing.
know. You'd think that they could have done a deeper dive into the DNA to get a more specific. Well, I guess that wouldn't have done any
Right.
good anyway.
Well,
She
maybe if they'd gotten the dad's
But
DNA.
she was popping out so many kids all over the place with
S-
different men.
Oh
Who
my
knows
God.
if the guy that they thought was Mary's biological dad ever even was?
Right.
Yeah.
I-
Fuck.
Totally.
What a mess.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, thanks for that, Charlotte.
Yeah. Thanks, Charlotte.
God. Well, sister, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you. We did it. We made it. You guys be like Ponch and the others that joined the last week, and go join the Patreon. It's $5 a month. Get a bonus episode every month. New episodes drop a day early for you guys over there, and every once in a while we have a virtual wine night where we all hang out together.
Mm-hmm.
So, come on over and patreon.com
Yakety
/ yakety yak.
Yeah.
Crime, Wine, and Chaos. And leave us a review.
And you can join for free too. There's combos happening over there.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're chatting it
That's
up.
right.
Leave us a review wherever you listen to us. If you have an Apple product, give us a typey review. We love that. I think that's all the things.
That's all the things.
I love you,
Love
sister.
you.
This was so chaotic.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Crime, Wine, and Chaos is produced by 8th Direction Records. Artwork by Joshua M. Davis. Music by Jeremy Williams. If you would like to support the show, you can visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/Crime, Wine, and Chaos. Cheers!